We are here at the PRI show at Indianapolis, at the Indianapolis Convention Center, and so glad that you have joined us here at the Racing Electronics Display. Steve Post from Motor Racing Network, joined by the champion of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, Austin Beers. Hey man, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Good. Has it sunk in since Martinsville that you're the champion of that tour?
Yeah, it truly sunk in when I was able to, pull the name off the wall at the Wall of Champions in Charlotte in the Hall of Fame. That's when it really kind of set in for me. So it was really cool to see that.
What was that night like, being at Charlotte at the Hall of Fame and the champions from all the regional areas there and everything? What was that like to be honored at that event?
It was awesome. Going there the past few years, being in the tables in the back, and then being up front in the tables, and getting on stage with my car owner Mike Murphy, and getting the ring from Steve O'Donnell and my hero kind of Ryan Preece. It was a really special night.
You mentioned your hero Ryan Preece. You surpassed Ryan in a category of this. You're now the youngest NASCAR Whelen Modified champion. You took that from Preece. Did he begrudgingly give you that ring or give you that honor, or what does it mean to you to be able to surpass a guy like Ryan Preece in a category?
It means a lot, because Ryan is someone who, he gives me the hope that I can make it to the top 3 series. As someone who ran the modifieds and worked his way up, doing it the hard way and coming out of the modified ranks, he gives me hope. So, growing up, going to the races with my dad and hanging out with Ryan when I was, 7 years old, it was kind of a full circle moment, to be able to beat his amazing accomplishment and, now be the youngest champion of the oldest series in NASCAR. It means a lot.
What do you think this means? And I don't like to project on anybody, but what do you think this has been like for your dad? Your dad's such a racer, and I'll be shocked if we get through this interview without calling you Eric somewhere along the way. But your dad's such an iconic racer. Just what do you think it means to him, or has he talked any about what it means to him to have you do this accomplishment?
I think it means a lot. We don't really communicate on feelings a lot, so we haven't really talked about it, but, I think deep down it means a lot to him, because, I wouldn't be where I am without my father and, everything he sacrificed to get me to where I am, with stepping back from the DeLang Racing 45 in 2020 so I could race, and, kind of going into retirement almost, just so I can have that opportunity that unfortunately I couldn't have without that. So, to have all that and win that championship after all those long drives we've had, it's pretty incredible. So I'm just happy, that it all worked out for him as well.
I am sure he is very, very proud. That is for sure. When you look at the season, 15 or the NASCAR season, you ran some other races. You had a pair of wins on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, but the worst finish was 9th. What does that say about Mike Murphy and the team, that you guys were able to finish top 10 in every one of those races?
Yeah, it's just something we've been working on. The past 2 years we've finished top 10 every race but one, where we got wrecked at Richmond. So we've just been working on our consistency, and that's what you need to have a championship. When you're racing guys like Justin and Silk and Patrick Emmerling and Craig Lutz this year, you got to be consistent. You can't have finishes outside the top 10. We finished top 10 every race, and Justin finished 8 points behind us. So it's that close, where you can't have bad days. And fortunately enough, whether it was luck or just what we were doing throughout the days at the racetracks, we were able to have those days. And
what's the challenge level? How's the level of competition in the modified? And I think I read somewhere where Silk is coming back full time as far as that goes. What is the level of competition right now on the NASCAR Modified Tour?
Very high. The first 8 races we had 8 different winners, so you could have 10 to 12 different winners. Each night we go out, and you got people that didn't win this year, like Steven Kopsick or Trevor Catalano, high caliber racers that didn't get it done, but they could have. And it's very competitive to even run in the top 5 or top 10. So it's a very competitive racing division, and I'm just proud to be the champion and represent it.
As you should be. We're going to have you reach into our tattered and battered mystery question box. All right. First race car.
All right, so my first race car was a pedal car, but for a full-size race car, it was a Ford Escort ZX2, 4-cylinder I ran at Mahoning Valley Speedway, and I was able to win a championship in it.
Won a championship. What do you remember? Do you remember anything about your first race?
So my first race, I lied. My first race was in like a Toyota Celica for an enduro with 100 cars and a quarter mile Mahoning Valley Speedway. I did 2 laps. I got hit in the driver's door and I pulled off and quit right there and then. But my dad said, all right, let's just try it one more time. And it's been great since then. But my first race was 2 laps long and I got hit and got scared. I was 11 at the time, so I'll give myself a little bit of credit. But yeah, it wasn't great the first day.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm glad you got in that second race. That's for sure. That is for sure. How are things looking as far as planning forward, and do you have concrete plans when we look at 2026?
So looking into 2026, most likely we'll be on the modified tour again with Mike Murphy, KLM Motorsports, try to defend our championship. We'll probably run speed weeks with the Jensens again, the 179. We got their first tour win this year ever in their whole family history. They've had a long history in modified racing, and to get their first tour type win, it meant a lot. So that was really cool. So we'll probably run some Monaco modified tri-track races with them as well, and then some Race of Champions races as well. That series is great and competitive in the Western New York region with Joe Scott and Nicky promoting it, so a lot more racing to do.
A lot more racing, that is for sure. You mentioned your team owner, Mike Murphy. Okay, you're the youngest driver to win, a second-generation youngest driver from Pennsylvania to win the championship. Mike is a 68-year-old Irish immigrant. I was reading a story in Air Auto Racing News. He sounds like quite the character.
He is. He is the best guy I've ever met. Just so down to earth. He'll do whatever you need for you. So, when we linked up with Murph, I wrecked my first race with him, and I thought that was the end of my tour career. It was a race-by-race deal, and I got in the pits, and the car was kind of destroyed, and he was dancing. He was like, we were going forward. It was great. So that's just, how he is. He's a happy-go-lucky guy. In 2024, he had a lot of health issues, and he actually had to get a kidney transplant. And so to have him back, lung transplant, sorry. He had a lung transplant, from complications from COVID. So to have him back for 2025, we felt whole again. And, to win this championship with him and, go on stage with him at Charlotte and just experience all that together with him and, us winning our first championship together, it means a lot.
That is really, really cool. I think I knew each part of the story, but as you put it together, it really is a pretty neat deal. Austin, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you, whether at the racetrack or here at PR. Thanks for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Austin Beers, your NASCAR Whelen Modified 2025 champion, joining us here in the Racing Electronics display.